What's a secret you can only share with online strangers? Sometimes when my medical issues are acting up, I can't even remember my husband's name. I know who he is, but it's like the data is corrupted and my brain is returning unknown error instead of name. I get transient aphasia with my migraines. It's an awful feeling and I'm sorry you have to deal with it. Not much of a secret. But my dad lied about having a family to my mom. My dad is still in the picture. But we're like the secondary family. It took 25 years for me to finally meet one of my brothers from my dad's side. He seems to be the only one who half-heartedly wanted to meet me. The rest don't seem to care too much about my existence. OMG, this happened with my best friends growing up. And I only actually found out very recently. My best friend and I are nearly 40. And her sister is about 43. It turns out, their father was always an incredibly righteous and judgmental person. But he secretly had a whole other family. Right here in our tiny little town. With 2 daughters, of similar ages, to my friends. Oh, and grandchildren. And he just came home one day and dropped that bomb on everyone casually and then went out to snooker club. That's all I know. I'm shocked. It's obviously hurtful in many ways. His wife is a lovely woman. She accepted it. They all did. And that's for the best. I'm still floored. Never told my parents I had stage 1 cancer. Both were barely sober and would have jumped off the wagon head first. Bright side Doc got it all. About 10 years ago, I stole my bully's phone and threw it off a building. He still doesn't know what happened to his phone. This reminds me of when I was 12 and I hid a kid's bike helmet so he couldn't bike home from school, since the school's policy was that all kids were to wear a helmet if they were to ride to and from school. I ended up fessing up to it though, sadly, and gave him his helmet back after a week. When I was with my host family, it was honestly the only year of my life I felt like a part of a family. I miss them so much. That's really touching. Sometimes we think our family lives are normal until we experience another way. Anyhow, I'm sure they miss you, too. I obsess about being able to start life over. In another time. To the point where I feel this life is not worth bothering about. I always thought the coolest thing I am in USA is that one day you can get up and decide I'm going to move to this state and you don't even have to tell anybody if you don't want to. There is a video of me being interviewed by Tulsa Channel 9 News where I'm drunk wearing a beer-soaked crop top tank top Oak State shirt, being asked about my opinion on beer being sold in Boone Pickens Stadium. Not my finest moment. Late response. I honestly have no idea where, if there is a link of this incident. They might have saved the footage, stored it somewhere, and IDK where to find it. Also, it was Tulsa News 9, not Channel 9 News. Another late response, apparently. I can't remember the news station, but I remember a prominent white 9 on a red square background on the mic. Honestly, could have been KTUL 8, but I was fucking plastered that day. I kind of dislike my best friend. We've known each other a long time. And we're both in unfortunate circumstances. But I'm trying to change mine. He isn't trying to change his. He just rages about how unfair his life is. I've offered all the help I can. But he never takes me up on it. And being his shoulder to cry on can be exhausting. He can be a very negative person. And so can I. But I'm trying to be less so. But it's easy to slip back into negativity when I'm around him. It's all very frustrating sometimes. I feel relieved whenever I get sick. I have major depression and anxiety problems. And being physically ill is just something people understand better. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the physical illness justifies the fucked feelings. You have a reason to feel bad. To stay in bed. To need people around. It gives you also something else to worry about. Something present and real. Just how fucking lonely I am. Of course no one wants to hear it. They blow smoke up your ass or repeat catchy phrases. I have no friends or anyone I talk to outside of coworkers. I had a bad breakup last year and pretty much no luck since. Same. Loneliness is brutal and dangerous. I feel like I shouldn't exist. I don't really want to exist. I don't wanna exist either. Like, I don't want to kill myself, but I just want to curl up into a ball and just stop existing. Just disappear. Every once in a while the voice in my head says I'm sad and tired for no reason. Life used to be more difficult and the voice was much more present. But I also used to have more energy. Now most of the time I'm sad and tired for no reason and the voice keeps repeating it and I feel like nothing makes me feel good. My mother's last words, as she lay dying in our house were, "I'm scared. This has fucked me up. Bad. And I can't tell anyone I know because I don't want to fuck them up too." I understand it if you don't want to answer this. But what happened? It was a normal night. We said good night and I went off to bed. 5 minutes later I heard her scream help. I ran downstairs. She said she couldn't breathe. I thought she was having panic attack but called for the ambulance. Next thing I know she said that. Then she's turning purple. Then the noise in. Boom. Gone. Turned out she had a pulmonary embolism. 20 minutes start to finish and I still have flashbacks. Can't hear those words without an anxiety attack and had nightmares every night for a year afterwards. I created multiple accounts on Reddit to upvote my husband's writing in our writing prompts to motivate him to continue to write. Since my divorce, I don't really want a relationship. I date some and keep it casual and had one actual girlfriend for 3 months and it was pure hell. My family doesn't get it. But I really like doing the dad and kids thing. I went to counseling in case it was some carryover issues from my marriage. But it seems I just like being on my own. I'm scared that won't change long term. I don't want to end up alone after my kids grow out of the home. But I just can't get on board to doing the relationship bit and don't see that changing anytime soon. Think of it this way. You don't have to conform to the norm. If you're happy by yourself, then be by yourself. If eventually you decide you want to be with other people, be. Don't know how I'm going to survive now without stepdad. Died Saturday. Things just hurt so much. It will get better, but take your time. I felt the same when my mother died. But I'm still here. Thanks to everything she taught me. Even after death the people you love stay with you. I wish you lots of strength. I have no motivation to do anything. I do the same thing every day so I get bored. But then I can't be bothered to start doing something productive. Struggled with same thing for years. Finally did talk about it and they found out I have depression. Now I'm working on myself. And I'm already more productive most of the times. Don't only talk to online strangers about it, but IRL. It's a negative loop that's hard to break. Can you have depression just due to the motivation issue without any emotional issues? I don't feel sad usually. But I'm so unmotivated. I also have ADHD which sometimes ties into depression but I never thought I had it. I'm not a doctor but I do suffer from depression and I gotta say. Lack of motivation and energy is a huge part of it for me. I will lay for hours knowing I have time to do something but it's like I just can't be bothered to get up and do it. I think it's worth mentioning to a doctor. Many years back my childhood cat got dementia. Some days he was perfectly fine, other days he stood in corners and peed himself all day cause he didn't know where he was or how to get out of the corner. After a while we gave up on hoping he'd get better and the day we scheduled the appointment he had a good day and my mother couldn't bear bringing him to the vet so she asked me. I drove him to the vet close by and the doctor didn't care about our cat. He had to inject more of whatever they use 6 times and halfway through the cat started twitching and struggling. It took ages until it was all over and I couldn't drive home afterwards. When I came home I pretended everything was fine and have never told anyone because it would break my family's heart even more. I've had to put down many elder pets. The last one was my Doberman with end-stage cancer. Our regular vet we used for about 15 years couldn't fit her in and suggested I just drop her off for when they had a minute. That was inconceivable to me. She was in a lot of pain and struggling. So I called another vet. Told them the situation and they said come right over. You can come in the back door so you don't have to go through the lobby. When I got there, they had a private room with a comfy bed on the floor. The vet said he was going to give her an injection that would make her relaxed, feel good, and drowse off. He would give us about 15 minutes to sleep then he'd be back for the final shot. He turned the lights off as he left, leaving just a dim quiet room and us to snuggle. She did relax. She clearly was feeling good. Even wagged her tail as she put her head on my leg and just sighed like, phew. Then she fell asleep. He came back in a few minutes and gave her the last shot. She was never frightened. I was furious that I never knew this was an option for pets before and still think of all the frightened pets I've had to be strong for while they lived their last moments. Needless to say, we switched vet clinics that day. I've cut off all ties with family and friends to be alone for the rest of my life. I've honestly been the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. That I'm afraid to get married because I don't have many friends that would come to the wedding. This is why I'm waiting as well. Would have so many friends there and I would have a max of 2. Created a throwaway for this because I know of at least one person that knows my username and this can never be discovered about me. When I first started dating my boyfriend, I moved in with him in another state pretty quickly, like after 3 to 4 months. So one night, he was in the shower in our 1-bedroom 1-bathroom apartment and I was chillin' in the living room and suddenly I had to poop so bad. Like it was go time and he was in the shower and I absolutely did not feel comfortable going in there and blowing up the toilet at the same time he was in the shower. In hindsight, I should have just run to the corner store and gone poo and come back with snacks and acted like I just wanted some munchies. But I was panicking, so what did I do? I grabbed 2 plastic grocery bags, doubled them up, took them into our walk-in closet. I think I figured if he popped out of the shower in the middle of my shame, at least I would be behind another door and have a minute to compose myself, and I squatted and pooped a huge load of turd into these grocery bags in our closet. I wiped with paper towels and tied up the bag and immediately went down and took out the trash. He will never know. No one will never know. This is my shame.